When my daughter Drew was born, someone asked me what I hoped she'd inherit from me. I said, my drive to grow and the belief that I can. That belief carried me through a difficult childhood. It pushed me to pay my way through college, build a six-figure sales career, and work through my trauma to become a loving husband, foster parent, and community builder. That belief is the best thing I have to give her. But this podcast isn't about me. It's for her. Instead of telling her my story, I'm sharing the stories of remarkable women. Women who've overcome, who've built, who've healed, who've thrived. Each episode is an interview with a woman who inspires me, and who I hope will inspire Drew someday too. Because one day she'll be a young woman carving out her own life, and she might not want to hear advice from her dad. But when that day comes, I hope she listens to these voices and remembers that she can become whoever she wants to be, and she can overcome anything. They say it takes a village, so I'm building one. A village of women who are redefining what it means to be ladylike. This is Ladylike, the Girl Dad podcast. Welcome back to Ladylike. I'm glad you guys are here. This episode was really special to me because it was shot with Catherine Chang, who is one of Anna's best friends, therefore making her an auntie of Drew. She's the kind of woman that I definitely believe and hope Drew will grow up into. In our conversation, Catherine shared about the first 4 months of motherhood and how hard it's been, but also how rewarding it's been, and befriending reality and adjusting to the changes that have happened in her life, and finding beauty in the new rhythm of parenthood. We also dive into her discovering her voice and confidence over the last few years of her life, and how Coco, her daughter, has really helped her do that. And it's an incredible insight into how you can be blessed by parenthood. And then we talked about being ladylike, and she said something that a lot of other people have said, that being ladylike is being strong and gentle at the same time. Truly an incredible conversation. If you go to our website right now, ladylikepodcast.com, you will see we just launched our merch store. I don't have anything to show off right now, but it's up there. Also, feel free to follow along on TikTok and Instagram at ladylike_pod. But for right now, I'm going to go into the Dear Drew, and then after that, we will kick off the episode. Thanks again, guys. Dear Drew, today Kat shared her story with us. She's just 4 months into motherhood, and she said it's been harder than she imagined, but more beautiful than she ever dreamed. That's the way love often works. It stretches you, but in the stretching, it grows your heart wider than you thought possible. She told us about the little griefs of change, missing quiet afternoons with Wesley, missing freedom of spontaneity. But she also spoke about the gift of befriending reality. I love that phrase. It means choosing to see beauty in the life in front of you, even when it looks different than the one you once knew. I hope you'll carry that with you, Drew. That peace comes from not getting everything you want, but from learning to love what's here right now. She also shared about how she's been finding her voice. For so long, she doubted herself, but now, holding her daughter, she feels a new courage rising up. That's what love does. It calls out strength you didn't know you had. Drew, if there's anything I hope you remember from her words, it's this. Being ladylike isn't about being polished or perfect. It's about being strong enough to carry the weight and soft enough to love deeply while you do. May you find courage when life feels hard. May you befriend reality and see beauty in every season. And may you know always that you don't have to choose between strength and grace. The loveliest women carry both. Love, Dad. Welcome to Ladylike. I'm Anton. Today I'm joined by Catherine Chang. Catherine is one of Drew's aunties. She's one of Anna's best friends and an incredible woman, and someone that I would definitely want Drew to grow up into. So I'm excited to have her here today. Kat, tell me a little bit about yourself. What are the hats you wear? Who are you? What do you do?
Thanks for having me, Anton. So excited to be on Ladylike podcast. A couple of the hats I wear. So, I'm a great friend of Anna, and I'm an auntie to Drew. I am a mom as of 4 months ago. I am on maternity leave right now, so I'm an account manager for Dell Technologies. I've really just been focusing on being a mom these last 4 months, and I'm a wife, I'm a friend, I'm a sister. Yeah, excited to be here.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about this. It's not a question I even wrote down, but tell me a little bit about what the last 4 months has been like for you. The last 4 months, it feels like there's been a huge shift in your life. You've become a mother. Talk a little bit about that and what that's been like.
It's been a big couple of months. I'd say it's been harder than I anticipated. I'd say it's been more fun, more beautiful, more rewarding than I anticipated. But my brothers have kids, so we'd been around kids here and there, just never as close up as you are when you have your own children. And that has just been, yeah, it's been hard. We're learning how to navigate me and Wesley's marriage in a new way, learning how to breastfeed. My whole life just has felt like it shifted in a really major way these last 4 months. And identity piece too. I feel like wrestling with like who I am now that I've got like a whole new set of priorities. Now Coco, my daughter, is a huge priority in my life, and that just has felt new. Our rhythms are different. Our life before we had kids was felt like we could kind of do whatever we wanted, and yeah, that's been challenging. And there's a lot that comes with being a mom, especially never having done it before. And I guess yeah, you guys learned this for the first time when you guys had your foster son, but yeah, it's been hard, I would say. I would say it's been hard and it's been amazing. I feel like it's really, really both of those things so much. And at first I was like, I don't know why people have more kids. This is so hard. And then you get to a point where it's more amazing than it is hard, but it is both amazing and hard.
Yeah. What do you miss the most? When I became a father with our foster son, I missed like being able to go out and do whatever I wanted. Play sports. Honestly, I missed playing sports. I missed, especially with foster care. I was like, this is hard to admit, but I was like a little bit like, oh, I can't wait for him to go home. And then when he did, I was so sad because I was missing the biggest piece of my life.
Yes, for sure. I'd say I miss the general sense of flexibility that we had before having her. I miss being able to just do things that we wanted to do. I mean, everything requires a lot more coordination, a lot more logistical preparation. It's a lot more work to do anything now. We love to play pickleball. I miss just like sitting on the couch. I miss napping. I think, yeah, a part of me misses time with just Wesley. And then I also think that having Coco has enhanced our marriage so much. But there is a part of, yeah, just missing like the relationships as they were before having her. I think having kids changes things, and it's changed my marriage and it's changed my friendships. I think I would hope for the better, but it is, yeah, there is like a grief, I think, that comes with any sort of change that, yeah, we're getting used to this is life now. And I think for a while we were kind of resisting. We were wanting to still do everything that we did before we had her. And then I think for now we're like, okay, we just need to befriend reality. And this is just what it looks like now. And we just have more limitations. And what a beautiful part of parenting is that you sacrifice so much for your child, but it is, yeah, it's different on that front. Yeah.
I was going to ask about identity and parenthood and identity pre-parenthood. For me, my pre-parenthood identity was work. When I became a parent, it changed my identity so much that I started a podcast.
Yeah.
If someone asked you, what do you do? What would you answer now versus maybe in the past?
I think if someone asked me what I did a couple months ago, I would have probably answered with what I do for my job, which ironically, I don't even feel very career oriented.
Yeah.
But that's just the easy answer to what do you do? I also really identified with faith and the things I was learning and with my marriage to Wesley and with my friendships. And now I think I might say that I'm a mom. I think that that's just felt like I think proportional to the amount of time that you spend investing in something that yeah, being a parent is like so much more than I've ever invested much into. I mean, maybe other than my marriage or my friendships. Those relational pieces have felt maybe more important than my job.
Yeah.
I'm also on maternity leave, so I'm not even thinking about my work. So maybe that would be different in a couple of months once I'm back at work. Even thinking about going back to work, I'm wondering what that might look like. I mean, that just comes at the cost of being with my daughter, and it makes sense for me to work right now, but that I do think that'll be a hard transition. But yeah, I don't think I would identify as much with my job anymore.
Me either. Sorry, job.
Yeah.
I'm
Sorry
sure.
for listening.
I think my CEO maybe listens to this. I told her last week, I gave her a shout out on the episode. I was like, and shout out to Les Madison for helping me become the man. And so I told her that in a meeting and she's like, oh, really? So I think she listens. Celeste, I still love and cherish my job. I
Um,
just think as of terms of my identity, it's a little
yeah,
bit different than maybe it was before. But speaking of work, tell me a little bit about the journey to getting to where you are as far as work wise
yeah,
and career wise, education,
yeah,
all that.
yeah. So I graduated from UT and graduated in COVID, and I knew that I didn't want to start working right away if I didn't have to. So I took a gap year in Charlottesville, Virginia, and I did a little program. I worked part-time for UVA doing marketing and communications for them. And I lived with the host family, and it was a really rich year. I mean, it was a lot of we took some seminary classes, we served, we it was such a mixture of doing adult things and also kind of still being in the college mindset. And it was a great transitionary year for me. But in that year, I was still dating Wesley, and so
Yeah.
I knew I wanted to come back to Austin. So Charlottesville felt like a temporary fun place. Kind of scratched the itch of wanting to go somewhere fun, but wasn't a permanent place. And I ended up coming back to Austin. And really, my job at Dell was a means of getting me back to Austin. So I took the job, and like I said, I've never been very career oriented, and so I kind of took it as a way just to have a job. It's been a great job, and I've been pleasantly surprised by the steadiness it's provided. And I've been there for almost 4.5 years now, and it's been great. I've gone through lots of iterations. It's in tech, so there's been lots of changes over the years with layoffs and
Yeah.
changes in the industry, and it's been great though. I think I still don't feel like I'm not obsessed with the work itself. So I'm in sales, and I sell to like public accounts, so like school districts and hospitals and small governments. Any kind of projects that they have related to technology, then I work with them on those. So the work itself doesn't feel crazy purposeful or fulfilling, but I love the components of it. I love that it's with people. I love that I've had the same account set the whole time I've been there. And so I've gotten to really know the people that I work with. And I think as someone that loves to be with people, that's been a really helpful part is that it hasn't been very cold call esque, which people kind of think of when they think of sales. So it's provided the kind of relational capital that I think is important for a job that feels fulfilling. And um, I think what I love most in my life is not related to my work, but it's been amazing for the time that I've been there. Honestly, yeah, that's been my journey, and I cannot believe I'm still there. I really would have thought I would not have stayed there, but God has had me here and kept me here, and it's been great for the last 4.5 years. So we'll see where God has me the next
Fabulous.
couple of years. But
Tell
yeah,
me a little bit more about the Charlottesville year. I know bits and pieces, like I knew you before, knew you after, I've heard things, but I'd like to hear like what you took away and learned from that year
yeah,
spending time away from everybody and kind of rebuilding in a whole new city. It's kind
yeah.
of crazy.
It was a hard year. I think graduating college and then moving away is challenging. I mean, graduating college and just starting your life as an adult is challenging on its own. Doing that in a new city was hard. I did not know anyone there. So I'm making all new friends. I had friends that stayed in Austin. I had such homesickness for my life in Austin. And I think I missed my friends. I missed Wesley. I missed life in a familiar way, and that was really hard at the beginning. And I met an amazing friend. Her name is Charlotte. Maybe I'll send this to her, but she is a really dear friend of mine, and so I think her presence that year was really, really impactful. The family that I lived with, Andy and Carrie with their names, they were amazing, and I think the gift of getting to witness someone else's life in such a close way, living with them for almost a year, yeah, there's just nothing like that, and we were learning so many things. We took, like, 4 seminary classes, I think, that year. I was working and just getting to have a whole new community of people in Charlottesville, and Charlottesville on its own is an amazing, fun place. I mean, it's in the heart of UVA. Yeah, I was just navigating, yeah, my relationship to Wesley and also being far away and figuring out so many things. It's a hard year
Yeah.
to, like, learn, yeah, rebuilding your life and then coming back to Austin. And then I learned that life was different in Austin. Yeah, it was a really impactful year for me in a lot of ways. And I think if anything, it gave me some independence. It was exciting to live in a place that I'd never been to before even.
When I was in freshman year of college, I moved to Austin, obviously went to UT, And I found myself missing, like, I had a very rich high school community.
Mm,
My senior year of high school, I lost a lot of friends because my junior year, I was just living a different life, and I came back my senior year, I'd become a Christian, I'd like started taking my life more seriously. I lost all these friends, but my senior year was very sweet because I had incredibly close community from that trial.
mm,
When I went to UT, I missed Houston so much. I missed like what I had.
mm.
And then my sister got arrested when I was a sophomore in college. And I decided to move back home to like be there for my sister. But a
Mhm.
lot of it was to like go chase this life I used to have. When I got back, I was so disappointed that it wasn't the same.
Yeah.
People had changed jobs, careers, moving, and I kind of learned that the hard way. And then I came back to Austin because I was like, all right, well, might as well live where I go to school, make it
Yeah.
easier for myself. But I definitely resonate with that feeling of like you're missing home, but then when you go home,
Yeah.
it's actually not the same as the home that you had before,
Yes. Yeah. It's
and
kind of like missing like a feel or like yeah, a feeling or like a sense of yeah, of how life used to be in a way that it's yeah, things change as they should and missing that like specific time, never being able to go back to that is hard when you think you are going back to it and you're actually not and things have
yeah.
changed. Yeah.
Because when you came back, like, was Anna and I married, or
Anna was
she
engaged.
was
It was
engaged?
the summer that y'all got engaged. Yeah, things had already shifted so much by the time I had gotten back.
Yeah.
And also Austin itself felt like a different city. I think
Yes.
when you go to UT, that's the world that you're in. And then after UT, I was like, oh, there's it just feels like a different place. I mean, for living so close to UT, I'm never even involved in that like
Yeah.
things that are happening at UT. It really just feels like a separate world. And so I think learning the city in a new way was challenging and yeah, it was just change change is hard and
Change is hard.
that felt like yeah, something that I learned.
I hope that someday Coco and Drew might listen to this episode and be like, maybe when they're going to college,
Yeah.
right? Or maybe when they're at college, or maybe when they go for their year program after college, they can be like, wow, I'm not alone. Who has carried you when things got tough?
First person that comes to mind is my mom.
Yeah.
My mom is
Lil.
amazing. Lil. Her
Love
name
her
is
name.
her name is Lil. Just Lal.
Like Lil Yachty. Just
Like a
kidding.
rap name, but that's just her
No, no, no.
yes, she yeah, has just been such a steady presence to me over my life and has formed me in so many ways. And so I think, yeah, she's definitely the first person that I think of when I think of any like influential person or woman in my life. I think of her. I also just think of my best friends. I think they've really carried me through challenging changes and things that have happened over the years. And I also think of Wesley. Yeah, I think my husband Wesley is yeah, obviously he's amazing. And I yeah, have just been really, really thankful for our marriage. Yeah, but my mom, my sister-in-law is also a really key important person for me. As you're growing up and you're learning who you are, I think my family has really kept me grounded. And as we were talking about the other day about families blessing their children with setting themselves up in the best possible scenario. In Catan references, we said you put them on a 6 and an 8
Right.
to give them the best chances, not on a 2 and a 12. And I think that's what my family did for me. I think they provided a lot of the necessary resources to stay grounded. And in terms of faith, they really formed that in me. And I think, yeah, just in hindsight, I just think about what a gift that is to have family that has really, really seen me through like my whole life and continues to. And now having my own daughter just puts family into perspective in a new way, I think. And
Yeah, how does
that's
it
it.
put it into new perspective? Just out of curiosity.
Yeah, I'd say I I just think about the way that I was raised, and I think about the things that how there are many things in my own childhood that I hope to implement into my own parenting style with Coco, and I just think that it's hard to raise faithful kids. It's hard to raise kids, and now that I have my own child, I am, like, just blown away by the effort that it takes to be a present parent and all the sacrifices that they made, and I just think that having my own child has even more so, like, enhanced my affection for my own upbringing and my own family, and that's a gift because it could be the opposite. The opposite could be true.
Yeah.
about appreciating less about them. But I really have.
Yeah, I actually talked about this on a previous episode. So if you're listening to this, sorry, but I'm telling it again
Yeah.
because I don't know the cat heard this. But when I had my foster son, there was a time where I was feeding him at like 3 a.m. And I was exhausted. I had the bottle in his mouth and he was drinking it. And I was thinking like, wait, he's never gonna know
Yeah.
that I'm doing this for him. And it really made me think about the fact that somebody, my mom or my dad, did that for me.
Mhm.
And it created a lot more empathy for my parents and just respect for parenting in general for them. I think a lot of times what you're talking about is like you've gained reverence for your parents in the way that they raised you and helped you become a woman.
Mhm.
And a lot of times I would look back as an adult and be like, oh, my parents messed up,
Mhm.
whatever. But then I'm thinking about it as I've become a dad, they met my needs most of the time, and it really opened up a new perspective. So I do think it's a universal experience that when you become a parent, you gain empathy. I actually think that's just across the board
Yeah. Yeah.
for the parents that you've yelled at or been rude to or whatever it is. There's a huge spectrum of that. Can you talk about your friends and maybe what they've helped you overcome, maybe a challenge or
Yeah.
life decision or anything like that?
Yeah.
They'll get a shout out and they'll get to hear it on the podcast.
Yes. Well, first person I think of is my friend Annabelle. She and I met in kindergarten, and because I have three older brothers and I don't have any sisters except for sisters-in-law, I think she has filled the role of a sister in my life over the years. Um, and what's just been so impactful is just like the sheer amount of life that we've shared together over the years. As we met when we were 5, that was 22.5 years ago, and it is amazing. I mean, I still, yeah, I talk to her multiple times a week. We feel really involved in each other's lives still, and I think, yeah, what she's helped me with is just about like everything. I just think we've like witnessed each other grow up, and I think a big piece of my story that I have like just recently put words into is just like a general lack of confidence that I've like kind of carried through my life, and I think just struggling with just trusting myself and making decisions, trusting, yeah, just finding my voice. I think that's been something that I've wrestled with over the years, and I think she has seen me through all versions of myself, and it's just special to think of. I've also like witnessed her change, and it's hard to like notice change in someone that you're so close to. I think that about my daughter. It's hard to even see the fact that she's changing until I look back at pictures and I'm like, you've changed so much. But I think that about friendships too. It's like you're both changing in such marginal ways that it's hard to really see what that looks like. But yes, we've just witnessed a lot of life in each other, and yeah, so she's a key person that I think of. So I'll be sending this to her as well. I also think of my best friend from college, Jordan, also in like the pinnacle of identity when you're in college and you're understanding who you are. And she's been a really key person in terms of faith for me, and also in terms of instilling confidence. I really think that that's something that I've only grown in over the years, but I really think that I have a long way to go still. I feel like that's just kind of something that I've carried over the years is just struggling to find my voice, which ironically being on a podcast is like challenging because
Yeah, you're doing great.
because
Yeah.
because it requires me to really do that. But what we were talking about earlier this week, Anton, about like you kind of live into the things that people speak over you.
Yeah.
And she probably more than anyone has just spoken such beautiful and life-giving things over my life, and I think that that's allowed me to rise up to that too, because if you're someone like me that has like more or less lacked confidence over the years, then someone believing that in you really does give you some empowerment and some strength to live into the things that they believe in you, because sometimes I'm like, you really love me a lot, and
Yeah.
that makes me want to live up to that a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's interesting because you're one of the most researched and reflective people that I know. You and Wesley combined, but even before Wesley, I remember that about you. Like, especially in college, you're one of my favorite friends to go to if I had read a Malcolm Gladwell book or
Mhm.
something interesting and be like, hey, what do you think about this interesting thing? And then we could talk about it. And so I find it wild that you haven't trusted your voice. And I almost wonder, and I don't like this is an assumption on my end. So if I'm wrong, you'd tell me if it's like you know too much and you reflect too much. You know what I mean? Like you're too informed. I don't know. I'm like you're really well read and you're very reflective. It's part of the reason I wanted you on the podcast is because I know that you know how to connect with a former version of yourself and speak about it and talk about it and take lessons from it. Uh, do you think that it could be that?
I also just think it could be my temperament. I think I've never been like very outspoken, and I think that yeah, it has changed becoming a mom, honestly. Like I think my role in Coco's life now, I'm responsible for someone, and I think it's made me trust myself a little bit more. It's so encouraging to look back at my life though and see the thread of how far I've come. Like kind of what we were talking about earlier this week is like moving in the right direction is so encouraging, and I've just totally gotten more confident over the years, and that makes me really hopeful for what's to come, honestly, because I have aspirations for the kind of mom I want to be and the kind of friend I want to be, and sometimes when that falls short, it's discouraging, and then I just think that it's baby steps in the right direction though. So
The younger you think of who you are today.
I think the younger me would be so proud of who I am today. I think specifically the biggest piece of it is just my walk with God. I think that's far and above the best thing that I have in my life, and just yeah, you just don't know what that will look like for you and the kind of trials that might happen in your life that would result in either like a strengthening or a weakening of your faith. But I think she'd be so proud. I think she'd be so proud of who I married, for caring about so much about my marriage, for navigating the first months of motherhood. Yeah, I think that she would be proud of who I am, honestly.
I guess I'm really thankful for how you're reflecting on yourself and thinking, oh, younger version of me would love who I've become.
Hmm.
What do you envision or hope for Coco in that?
There's a liturgy that I read in Habits of the Household, this book that Wesley and I have really loved and have found a lot of wisdom in. And it says, it's a parent to their child, and they say, "Do you know I love you no matter what good you do? Do you know I love you no matter what bad you do?" God also loves you like that, essentially. And the piece of that struck me is the piece about God loving us no matter what good we do, because I think out of that you have such a greater sense of confidence, not because you're not trying to pine after God's approval or your parents' approval or anyone's approval, because it's already been completed, and that's what I really hope for.
What's up, guys? Sorry to pop in the middle of the episode. A little bit of a jump scare there, but my mic goes out in a couple seconds here on the podcast. And so you're probably going to hear some clicking noise, maybe some buzzing. Your speakers are fine. They're not blown out. Your AirPods are not broken. It was just an issue with my mic. So thanks for bearing with me. I heavily edited it, so might sound okay, but bear with me here. Thanks. You know, actually, what you said really profoundly affected me. I haven't read Habits of the Household. I actually do want to ask some questions about that and Wesley, so don't let me forget. But yeah, so I mean, definitely that's what I hope for Drew is that she can reflect and think back on her life and think, my parents loved me when I did good. My parents loved me when I did bad.
Hmm.
And it really didn't change that much.
Hmm.
Things I love about you and Wesley the most is that you are both extremely intentional and thoughtful with the decisions you make in your life. I'd love to hear a little bit about that partnership with Wesley, if you could speak into that and why and how you make decisions so intentionally. Let's start there.
I just think that our marriage has it's just been such a safe place for me, and we make decisions by way of, well, I think we're really prayerful about things, but I just think we also like care equally about each of our perspectives, and Wesley is really really quick to bend to my own preferences and really really quick to honor my thoughts about things. And I just think in light of what we were talking about finding my voice, I think Wesley has more than created a space like that for me where I felt really really empowered and valued, and like my opinion is of utmost importance in our marriage. And we also just, yeah, we love the same things. And something that I mentioned in the little like pre-question thing that I filled out was there's a liturgy, that a different liturgy that we love in Every Moment Holy,
Yes.
which you know
We
about,
love.
which we love. It's a liturgy for a husband and wife at the end of the day. And there's a part in there where it talks about like making space for any anything that you have to right from that day, any wrongs you've committed towards each other just for that day. And there's a space for you to like confess and also forgive each other and all that. And that's just been such a sweet thing that we've done. We have not done it every night by any means, but we have done it here and there. And I think it's just provided such a sense of groundedness and also, yeah, making decisions grounded in God Himself and in prayer and in unity. I think that that's the word that I think of when I think of our marriage is that we've just felt really united more than I anticipated. Or we trust other people's thoughts too, and so I think we've been pretty inclined to ask for input also on decisions, which has helped because I think it doesn't feel like we're always making decisions in isolation. I think we're pretty quick to loop people in.
What does success mean to you these days? What do you think about success?
What do I think about success? I think success right now is meeting Coco's needs. I think it's also having a sense of perspective. You've been around Coco, you know she is a loud.
She's loud.
She's loud. She has lots of tears. She is, yeah, she's maybe just having some higher needs in this moment of her life. And I think it would be such a success if I could look back at my day on any particular day and feel like I had perspective about things. It's really easy when you're in the midst of a crying baby and you're with other people. It's really easy to feel like everything is super, super important. And I think having perspective, just knowing what's important, I don't know, like, yeah, you're a parent, you know that there's a lot of things that come and go, and some things are really important, some things are less important, but I think it's just so hard to have a sense of perspective sometimes in those moments. And I think meeting her needs, but also being wise about understanding what's actually worth my stress and what's not, because not everything is worth getting stressed out over. But it's really easy to feel that when you're overstimulated with a crying baby. And she's amazing, but she does like, yeah, she's hard work right now. Yeah.
I would just say genuinely, you guys are doing an amazing job. Like I have seen and babysat and fostered and done this little baby thing a bunch of times. And I want you to know that like I think Coco is the way Coco is just because she is the way she is. Like I think it's just hard. And
I think so too.
and
I hope that's the
no,
case.
I know that's the case. I know that's the case. And
Yeah.
I'm just like, there is nobody that I would entrust Coco more with than you two, especially given the difficulty. Like, she's just a lot. Like, she's a very loud baby. I never met a baby that loud. Love her, but goodness gracious, and she's a big crier. And I just think like, who more patient than the two of you to be the people entrusted with this baby? Like,
It's cool to think about God creating Coco and then Him saying that
yeah,
we're her parents.
Yeah.
We're her parents of all the
Yeah.
people in the whole world that were her parents. And I know that I look back at the last 4 months and I think that was so hard. There were a lot of hard things. It was amazing. But I also think how much like God has carried us through. And I just think that's the story of being a parent, is that there will be hard things and God will continue to supply our every need. And I've just felt that so much. Like, it's amazing that I can even look back at my time as being a parent and think that was amazing. I think that about every day I'm with her. I'm like, that was an amazing day, even though I know there were many moments in the day that were really hard. But I just think having it's like amnesia or something. It's like
we're not promised an easy and painless life.
Mhm.
Nobody, Christian, non-believer, nobody. And the reality is, like, some people like to say, if God was good, then he'd just fix all the problems.
Mhm.
Or there would be no problem.
Mhm.
We'd just be in paradise. But I think the story of God is woven in our life and in our heart. And I think what that looks like is, I don't know, if you think about your favorite book, I think about my favorite movie or my favorite book. There is no book I've ever read without tragedy.
Yeah.
There's no movie I've ever seen without tragedy. No good movie. I think
Yes.
does have tragedy. And I think it's not the duty of the author of the book or the movie to remove tragedy. I think it's the duty of the author or the filmmaker to bring resolution and reflection and some lesson and some truth and some, I don't know, completion, I guess.
Yeah.
And I think about that in terms of Coco. and you're talking about reflection on some of the hard things and how you're kind of shielded from it. Like if you're far enough in the book, the tragedies that happened earlier, you're like, that was worth it.
Yeah.
I grew. I
Yeah.
learned. I got
Totally.
better.
Totally.
And I think the same thing with my story.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what the prologue is saying is
Mm.
like, yes, CPS was prologue, and like, yes, I had some involvement in the foster care system and I had a difficult childhood, but tragedy bred something that we can do. Babies and marriage are the two most sanctifying things in this life that we experience, I think.
Yeah.
They challenge us the most and
I think
gifts
so
to
too.
us. And so I'm just sitting here watching you guys. I'm proud of you guys. And I think God's doing something cool.
Yeah.
We love Coco.
I hope that that it's challenging. You know, like anything like beautiful is also going to be a little bit hard too.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it would be so lame if parenting was only amazing and easy and not hard, because you hope that it does, like, it's working you. You know, like we hope that this is moving us in the direction of sanctification and greater godliness, and that's so, yeah, you just wouldn't get that if it's only easy. So I'm sure you feel that with your own story though. Just the things that it's produced in you it's worth it for the hard. Yeah.
It produced a podcast.
Which is amazing. Yeah.
I mean,
it produced the podcast.
Really did. Like, the reason I'm doing this is to
Yeah.
I talked about this story earlier about like my mom feeding me, and I don't remember that. Like,
Yeah.
I want Drew to know exactly who I was this whole time,
Yeah.
the attention I had the whole time, so that in 20 years, 30 years, when she watches this, and maybe even I die, she can reflect and be like, wow, yeah, my dad went through this and he overcame and became this person. And it did produce something good. So, as a girl dad, obviously, this podcast is for girl dads and dads in general for listening to women to learn from them. But you grew up as a girl and you had a dad. Tell me about what your dad did right and what maybe I could take from him.
Yeah, my dad did a lot of things right. So my mom was a stay-at-home mom my whole life, and my dad was the working parent. And he has always been the fun. He was kind of the fun parent. He really, really cares about spending time with us as kids. He's really quick to laugh at himself. He's quick to make light of things. He's a lot of fun. And my mom was kind of the spiritual backbone of my family, and my dad is now, but I think when they first started dating and got married, that was less of the case. And so I think, yeah, he did a lot of things right, and he cared about the right things. He was a really, really present dad. He came to all of our things. He cared so much about us. And I think the best thing that he can do is love my mom. Honestly, I think that was a huge asset to my family too, is that my parents really, really love each other. They felt really connected to each other. I felt like they really liked being around each other. And I think my dad pursuing my mom was a huge, huge gift to us as kids, to see them be connected and see them love each other. And again, that's not something that I would have put words to as a kid. But when I think about my childhood, I'm like, what a gift that was to see my parents. And
you are an incredibly strong woman, a focused woman, research like we talked about, well-read, intelligent, a lot of wonderful things. I keep going. No, just kidding. How do you think your dad's influence in your life shaped that?
yeah.
We talked about it a little bit, but what can a dad take away from how you become, who you've become to do?
Yeah. I think a dad can really impact his daughter. I think the obvious one is thinking about the model that a dad can be to his daughter in terms of faithfulness in a man, in terms of pursuit and steadiness. I think there's a lot of, just by way of example, that I think a father can provide for his daughter. But I also think just like the affection and the ways that a dad can love his daughter. I think about on my wedding day how my dad told me so many times how much he loved me, how beautiful he thought I was, how proud he was of me. And I just think people can tell me that all day, and it lands differently coming from your dad. And I felt like those words, him using his words to encourage me in such a specific way, has gone a long way. And I think, yeah, like encouraging your daughter, empowering her, I think.
When you hear the word ladylike, what does that mean to you?
I was thinking about whether I resisted or appreciated that or like moved towards that word. And I think I definitely moved towards it. I think being ladylike has a lot to do with strength. I think it has to do with like tenderness, but also strength. I think both of those things together, like what you're saying, it's both of those things. And I think women being ladylike is doing both of those things in tandem with each other. Yeah, there's such a strength and a like dignity about women. And I think being a mom, not that all ladylike women are moms, because plenty of them are not.
Yes.
But I think being a mom, it is hard work. And I just think about like the strength that it requires to be someone who has a child. And I think the strength piece just feels like such a big part of that. And the selflessness and the sacrifice and also the tenderness that comes with that too. I think that's like feels pretty ingrained with women in general. But I think ladylike is a lot of those things. Yeah.
You know what's crazy?
What?
Guys, this is not scripted. I promise I didn't tell her to say this. I'd say 5 or 6 out of the 7 episodes that I've done, everyone said it's a mixture of strength and grace.
Really?
Seriously. I'm not kidding. Unless you're listening to the episodes right before, like prep, like who said this about like what they say about Ladylike? No, but that's crazy because it's seeming like, at least in the last couple episodes, that might be a universal reality. That being a woman, being ladylike, in like the positive annotation of the word, is something like being strong and graceful at the same time, enduring, but enduring with generosity and kindness. And I think that's what pregnancy is a little bit.
Yeah, totally.
Never been pregnant.
Yeah. For the record.
I cannot speak about pregnancy. I just observed, and it seems like it might require a lot of strength and gentleness at the same time.
Yeah.
It's just incredible that you and so many other people have said the same answer.
That's really crazy.
It is, isn't it? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I never told anybody that,
Wow.
and they all say the same thing.
Dang, that's crazy.
Anyway, just crazy. This isn't scripted, but I didn't even send you this, but I want to give you, and I think I want to do this on future episodes too. I want to give you a moment to highlight the women in your life, speak about them, and their ladylike nature, and maybe give them like a shout out or highlight the qualities that you love about them.
Yeah.
Whether that be Lil or whoever, I think it's just like women uplifting women. I'd love to give you the mic and
Love
yeah.
that. I would say to my mom that she's been so faithful, and her impact in a faith way has really changed the course of my life. I'd say Annabelle, who I talked about, Jordan. I'd say Anna, Anton's wife, for her tenderness, her helpfulness. I think Anna is great about filling in whatever's needed. I've just watched her, like she's so good to Coco. And I've just really been blessed by her specificness to meet needs in such a cool way. I mean, I'm sure you feel that in your own
100%.
in your own marriage, but she's really amazing and generous at that. I think of my sister-in-law Ellie, who has been a huge impact. She's just really impacted my life in a lot of ways. Wesley and I talk about how often we talk about what would Ellie do in this situation, because she just has great perspective. She's a great mom. I think when we thought about the kind of parents that we want to be, we thought about Daniel and Ellie and just the kind of parents they are, and how present she is to her friends while also being present as a mom. And she is amazing. So Ellie, I hope you listen to this and that I think you're amazing. I would think of all my best friends, Vault. I would think of Vault and just the security of friendship. And I think in that group specifically, I've seen, right, it's like everyone is like just like fighting to be amazing friends to people in that group. It's my friend Mills, Anna, Kate, Lauren, Miley, Carrie, me. Did I miss anyone? Yeah. It has been such a sweet group of people, and I think everyone's really wanting to honor each other. We call it Vault because everyone is a vault, so we're really good about not sharing any information about each other. And yeah, I've just seen people really fight to honor each other in that group. And yeah, just an amazing picture of friendship for those girls in that group. So
To wrap it up, I wanted to do a little quick fire question round. So I'm going to ask you a couple questions. You're going to give me your little feedback and thoughts on these things, and then we'll close it up. So the
okay.
first one is pickleball or board games. Which one do you like more?
Oh, good question. Right now, board games. Yeah.
Which one?
Well, I've really been liking Catan lately. I went through a Catan phase, then it tapered off, and now it's back.
Okay.
I really like Catan right now, but I only don't say pickleball because it's just much harder right now to get out of the house and play pickleball. Wesley and I love to play together. We like to play pickup down south at the South Austin Tennis Center.
Shout out South Austin Tennis Center.
Shout out.
What book have you reread the most? I'm genuinely curious.
Reread. I actually haven't reread many books in my life, actually. I'll answer your question with a book that I'm currently reading that I really like.
Great.
It's called How 1776 Created the Post-Christian West.
What the heck?
And another
It's
recommendation.
800 pages.
It's pretty long. It's another recommendation by my brother Daniel, and it's basically about how our culture is Western, educated, industrialized, rich, democratic, ex-Christian, and romantic. Acronym weirder.
Memorized all of that.
Acronym
Acronym. Okay.
weirder.
I was like, how did you memorize all that?
And it's basically looking at how the events of 1776 have created our culture into being all of those things. It's written by a pastor who looks at some faithful people in the 1700s and can kind of look at this is how they managed the changes in their culture in the 1700s, and this is what we can learn from them as modern Christians in our world today. That's
Well,
yeah. Your book.
give me your. This isn't one of them, but I just thought of it. Top 3 books that you like of all time, and maybe what they're about.
Okay. Top 3 books. Habits of the Household,
Ooh,
which I've mentioned.
shout out.
Top is a top 3. It has really changed the way that I think about some things. Yeah, specifically just like habits of your household and the things that are normal in your home and what that might communicate about what you love and care about and what you're communicating to your children and spouse in those ways. I also think God and Money was one that Wesley and I really, really loved. It's about God and money, and that one has really impacted the way that we think about money. We did the Journey of Generosity in light of after reading that because the authors work for generous giving and because we just were thinking so much about generosity and wanting to have a right perspective of money in a general way that that's what brought about that decision. But also the book itself just was really challenging, and it's one that we've referred to over the years. And I think I judge a book by how much I reference it in conversation or how much I refer back to it later on when I'm making decisions because it's impacted me so much. So that's one of them. And then another one that comes to mind is one called Living Life Backwards. That is about the book of Ecclesiastes that I also think about often. Just the brevity of life and how temporary it is, but also just the mixture of like our life is important and it's brief and how we can live life with knowing that we're going to die one day.
R.I.P. No, but for real,
R.I.P.
Ecclesiastes is my favorite book.
Yeah, really?
Bible, for real, yeah.
Really?
Not
Wow.
kidding. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
Genuinely. Great. They're great. If you could plan a dream family trip anywhere, where would you go? It's kind of hard because Coco's kind of hard to take places.
She's a little hard. She's a little hard to take places. But if she were to be older,
That's right.
I think I would love to go to Banff. Wesley's been to Banff and I haven't, so I would like to go. And I think that would be a good place to take her hiking, beautiful lakes, great weather. That'd be fine.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I think it looks like a gorgeous day now. I mean, it rained a lot today, but I think today we should go play pickleball. That maybe we should. We could watch the babies and play at the same time.
Yeah, I think we could. I think we could.
It'll be fine. But anyway, thank you so much for being on. We'll see you next time. Definitely go subscribe to Ladylike, the Girl Dad podcast on YouTube. Find us on TikTok and Instagram at ladylike_pod. Feel free to DM us there if you have any suggestions, questions, anything like that. And we'll see you on the next one. Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye.